With us now on the phone is Matt Kibbe. He is the president and CEO of Freedomworks. An economist by training, Mr. Kibbe is a well-respected national public policy expert, best-selling author, and political commentator. And Matt, it's good to have you with us today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Well, Freedomworks just launched a black and white tour, an effort aimed at reaching out to African American voters. What can you tell us about the tour, and what do you hope that it accomplishes?
Well, we really want to start a serious conversation about economics and how big government economics, particularly coming from the Obama administration, has targeted the black community. Unemployment is higher in the African American community, and big government policies ultimately punish those who can least afford higher energy prices, higher taxes, all of the things that this administration has done. So we wanted to go and really challenge those preconceived notions that the establishment has pounded us with.
Now, already former Obama administration advisor and progressive activist Van Jones is criticizing the tour, saying the premise of it is borderline insulting because he thinks the GOP would be better off addressing elements within the party that he believes are racially hostile to people of color. How do you respond to that?
It's funny. He's a classic Alinskyite. He never names names. There's always this vague smear that somehow somebody in our community is racist. Call him out. Call him out by name. He's trying to change the subject because he doesn't want to talk about the damaging economics of the Obama administration. He doesn't want to talk about the debt. He doesn't want to talk about what Obamacare does to our healthcare system, and he certainly doesn't want to talk about 14+% joblessness in the black community.
Now, turning to the 2012 election, Real Clear Politics has Barack Obama leading Mitt Romney in the polls, 49 to 45%. Mitt Romney is behind in Ohio, which analysts say he must win to win the election. Does Obama have this in the bag?
Not at all. Not at all. And I think obviously some of these polls are spin. They're trying to repress Republican turnout. But I also think that honest political scientists and pollsters that are trying to get it right have a hard time measuring the energy on the ground. They got Texas wrong with Ted Cruz. They got Indiana wrong with Richard Murdoch. And I think they have it fundamentally wrong in Ohio. We just did a major event in Cincinnati. 7,000 people sold out. Josh Mandel told me that it was the biggest, most energetic crowd he had seen in his entire campaign.
Now the first presidential debate happens this coming Wednesday in Denver. Do you think Mitt can turn things around here?
I think he's a good debater, and I think if he performs like he did in the primaries, he will do well. My unsolicited advice to Mitt Romney is be yourself and stand for something. You can't win this election just by opposing failed Obama policies. Voters want to know what you would do, and don't listen to the Republican establishment types that tell you to say nothing.
Now, let's say Mitt Romney doesn't win. Would the loss be a referendum by Americans on Tea Party fiscal conservatism, or no?
No, I don't think so. Obviously, Tea Partiers were looking for an alternative to Mitt Romney, but they also understand that firing Obama is our first priority. We've always been focused more on the Senate, and we think it's important to understand that we are repopulating the Republican caucus in the Senate with real constitutional conservatives, and that's going to create a fundamental change in public policy regardless of who's president.
You think it will be a Tea Party-dominated Senate?
Absolutely. I think we're very close to a functional majority in the new Republican majority in the Senate. And you can just look at the various senators from Mike Lee to Rand Paul to Pat Toomey to Marco Rubio, all of them offering real ideas in contrast to Harry Reid, who hasn't been able to write a budget in 3 years.
So you're confident then, Matt, that the GOP will win back the Senate this election? Oh,
we have to. I mean, and people need to understand just how important this election is. What's interesting about the map is the battlegrounds we need to win: Ohio, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Florida. These are the same states that Mitt Romney needs to win. They're the states that we need to win to take control of the Senate. And these are the states where the Tea Party has been particularly organized for years. They won these states in 2010.
Now, Freedomworks is, as we know, very closely aligned with the Tea Party movement. A number of Tea Party conservatives won their Republican Senate primaries, like we just discussed, including Ted Cruz, Republican from Texas, who recently told ABC that the Tea Party is here to stay. What role do you see the movement playing in the 2012 presidential election and beyond?
Oh, I think we've organized by community, and every place you go in these battleground states, there is a well-defined, well-organized community of activists who are now focused on get out the vote. What's important about this movement is that they will be there the day after the election to support the candidates as they become legislators to do the right thing, but also to put pressure on Republicans when they get wobbly. This is a paradigm shift. It's not the old politics of throw the bums out. It's a commitment from activists to actually stay involved in the process.
Now, there seems to be a rallying cry within some in the Tea Party movement behind Missouri Republican Senate candidate Todd Akin. Rick Santorum and Jim DeMint are also now supporting him. Is Freedomworks supporting Todd Akin in his quest to defeat Senator Claire McCaskill?
We're going to stay out of that race, and frankly, the first principle of the Tea Party ethos is self-responsibility. Todd Akin committed a self-inflicted wound, and frankly, his actions look quite selfish to me. He's putting at risk taking the Senate. We'll leave it to everybody to make up their own mind on that, but Freedomworks is staying out.
Last question for you, Matt. Freedomworks continues endorsing a number of candidates in Senate, House, and state races. Can you talk to us about a few of your more high-profile endorsements?
You know, I'm most excited about Ohio with Josh Mandel. If you've watched him evolve as a candidate and a real legislative entrepreneur, he's going to be the surprise on Election Day. He's going to win that race in Ohio. Forget what the polls are telling you. Same with Connie Mack in Florida. I think if you start adding up the number of legislative entrepreneurs that are coming to the U.S. Senate, returning to the U.S. House, this is a fundamentally different process than we've seen in the past.
All right, Matt Kibbe, Freedomworks president, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching Newsmax TV.